In a previous lesson, we compared overcrowded PowerPoint slides with slides that have fewer words. And we looked at the use of pictures and graphs to help the audience understand your main points. Today, we will look at number 1, content and number of slides. Number 2, visual design of slides. Number 3, spelling and grammar. Okay, first we'll look at the content and number of slides. As you know, slides should be concise and simple. Try to have one clear message per slide. For example, your main topic for one slide could be types of transport in Sydney 100 years ago. That is enough for one slide. In a longer talk, you might have only one type of transport per slide. Example, trains in Sydney. You should limit the number of slides too. A general rule is 5 to 8 slides for each 10-minute talk. If you have too many, you will find yourself rushing through each slide. It is better to have one slide up for a minute or two so that you can cover the information in each slide. One more thing about content. You should try to make each slide informative. Let's look at the next slide. You'll see here that the slide does give information. There are 4 types of transport in Sydney 100 years ago. However, let's say that your presentation is quite short and you don't have time to have more slides following, giving information about each type of transport. In this case, the slide doesn't really give you very much information at all. Look at this next slide in comparison. This one gives the main information about each type of transport. So, generally, try to make each slide informative while avoiding overcrowding the slide with too much information. The next thing I'll cover is the visual design of slides. First, don't select one of the fancier fonts available. Some are just too hard to read. Also, remember that your audience, wherever they are in the room, needs to be able to easily see your slides. So make sure they are at least 24 points. Headings should be bigger. Next, avoid overusing color. It's just too distracting. By distracting, I mean the attention focuses on the color rather than on your message. For the same reason, don't use all capitals. It is also hard to read and distracting. Nice backgrounds can be useful, but if they have too many elements, they conflict with the message. And finally, choose font colors that show up clearly. As you can see in this example, the font color is too light against the bright background. Now I'll come to the last part of my short presentation. There's nothing that looks less professional than a slideshow that has lots of errors in it. PowerPoint has its own spell checker, so pay attention when you see something underlined in red. Just right-click with your mouse to get suggested corrections, or check the word in the dictionary. Grammar checker doesn't always work in PowerPoint, so it is a good idea to just copy and paste your text into a Word document and use the grammar checker there. You'll see grammar errors underlined in green. Again, right-click to get suggested answers. Mainly though, you just need to proofread carefully. Ask your teacher if you're unsure if something is correct or incorrect. That's the end of this presentation. I used 6 slides and it took me about 10 minutes to get through it. So I have followed the rule. Are there any questions?